Market volatility is coming, and that is the good news. You have to listen to me right now. You're going to experience a ton of market volatility coming up. I don't think people really are understanding what is actually happening right now. Now, I want to be very clear. After February 20th, 2026, this isn't a price prediction. This isn't a flip of a switch. It is an understanding of how cycles actually work. We're heading into a system where darkness is going to be exposed. Listen to me very clearly. The old system of finances, brokers doing unethical things, anything done in darkness is now going to come to light. We're fragmenting from a centralized system to a decentralized system. Fiat currencies last about 100 years. We're well over the US dollar's lifespan. We're in a debt crisis. We printed more money than in history. The value of the dollar is sinking dramatically as we're in the fourth turning in a brand new wave of technology. Currency is coming in. So you should expect massive volatility. Now, here's what I've taught people is that's where you get wealthy. If you could really lock in and understand and get out of the get rich quick, get out of the price predictions, get out of the hype and really lock in, create a discipline plan daily, weekly, monthly, and annually, and start to look 5 to 10 years forward, you're going to do very well. But if you're price sensitive, if you're looking at the market every 15 minutes, you're going to get wrecked 100% of the time. So we're going to look at how gold is literally skyrocketing versus the dollar. We're going to look at Bitcoin, how it's crushed the US dollar. We're also going to watch something interesting. Peter Schiff was on Tucker Carlson, and I completely disagree with his view on Bitcoin. But I love the fact that he's a gold bug, and I have precious metals. I have both. I'm not tribal in anything. He's very tribal in gold, and what I do appreciate about him is the fact that he'll go to Bitcoin conferences and he'll stand on stage and debate people. But it's interesting. There's this part in there that really stands out to me. Okay. And I want you to listen to what they're saying. And there's parts that I agree with and disagree with, but what I want you to pull from that and extract from that with discernment is that the US dollar is changing, guys. It's not going to collapse overnight, but the middle class is getting wiped out, leverage source technology moving down to the working poor, and you need to prepare. The blind leadership of just waiting for another man, waiting for another man to build your retirement or waiting for Social Security, it ain't going to work, guys. This is not our grandparents' and parents' economy. You have to build a system. So let's first dive in and look at the facts, figures, numbers, logic, and what is actually happening, okay? So Mining Visuals posted this. This is a very beautiful visual if you want to take a look at this, okay? It says gold, $5,000. USD have lost 78% of its purchasing power against gold in the last 10 years. This should start to wake you up, guys. In the last 10 years, it's lost 78% of its purchasing power. This is a clear sign of an economic decline. Now, remember, you get paid in fiat, which is debt. You trade labor for income that is actual debt. Then you go to the bank and you get more debt, taking away future labor that you haven't even worked yet, and you're burying yourself in a hole. Okay, so that's gold. For the gold bugs out there and precious metals, there you go. It literally crushed and held value based against the US dollar. Now here's Bitcoin. This was posted by Walker on Reddit. Okay, medium home price, US dollar versus Bitcoin, values in June of each year. In 2012, okay, $238,000 house took 43,000 Bitcoin. You come all the way to 2026 or 2024, excuse me, a $414,000 house. So the house went up. Okay. It took 5.8 BTC. Okay. In 2028, a $590,000 house, okay, will be 0.4 BTC. Okay. The understanding of that is that the houses aren't becoming more valuable. It's the devaluation of your currency. When that clicks, that should help you understand what is actually happening. So you get paid in debt. The value of your assets are going up. You're buried in debt paying interest on this side. You're not even beating the hurdle rate, and you're treading water. Just do research on how many people retire with $1 million. $1 million at 4% is $40,000 in retirement income. The middle class is falling off a cliff. So the middle class needs to wake up, understand what money is, understand how to create cash flow, transmute that cash flow into assets that are deflationary, get out of the get rich quick, understand we're going to go through some massive volatility. Like think about a family getting divorced, right? Or a parents getting divorced. It causes so much. Your browser's lost connection to screen share. Screen share audio. Oh no. How do I fix that? I wonder if I'm going to be able to do the audio here. Oh no. Okay, so we're not going to be able to show the Tucker Carlson thing. I don't edit my videos, so but I want to show you this. Okay, so we're going to experience some massive, massive volatility, and I'll just explain what they say there. But I hope that I can reconnect that. Let's try this real quick. Hold on one second, guys. Let's go back. Let's see if we can share this again. Boom. We'll go through this. Anyways, so this is not our grandparents' and parents' economy, and we're going to experience a lot of volatility because imagine a couple getting divorced, right? You're going into new systems. The family's getting fragmented. We're going from the old system to a new system, and it's going to be bumpy. It's going to be bumpy, but that's where we get wealthy. Okay. When it goes red, I buy. When it gets really greedy, I sell. I pull profits off the table. I go into defense. I sit in defense. I sit in my bunker. I sit in my bunker. And then when offense comes back down, boom, we go back in, we buy everybody's fear. It's just a cycle. Okay. So this is interesting. This is what I believe is going to cause a little bit more volatility. Shutdown threat looms as Senate Democrats pledge to block funding after Minneapolis shooting. So all this stuff happening is based on Ray Dalio's changing world order. We got civil war and revolution. This is the type of moves that BlackRock is making. Just in 14 trillion BlackRock files for a new iShares Bitcoin premium income ETF. This is the future, guys. Income ETF. This is why banks are going crazy. They're like, oh my gosh. So you got Michael Saylor. He's got his premium stocks, right? So premium stocks, you can get into Bitcoin and you can make dividend. I'm big on dividend stocks. I love dividends, right? Premium income ETF. So I could put money into the new iShares Bitcoin and I can generate yield, guys. I can generate income. That's how you get wealthy. So I'm going to teach you this game. I devoted my life to this. I'm going to teach you this game. I'm going to teach you when you're getting paid income, how to transmute that income into cash flow, how to transmute that cash flow into assets that beat inflation so you can get your family out of it. Let's see if this actually works. I was really hoping this would work. So bear with me. I'm going to play this. I pray to God that this actually shares the audio with you guys. Let me just double check here because I really wanted you guys to hear this. Let's check audio. Test, camera. Okay, let's see if this works. If not, I apologize. Let's check it out. So this is the part that I agree with what he's saying, okay? Is I thought it was so interesting. This is why I don't want you guys to get played. It's an observation, okay? So I might get some hate for this. But the Bitcoin conference, I think it was, I'm trying to get the years down right, 2023, right? So Bitcoin is all decentralized. It was anti-government. It was blah, blah, blah. And then 2024, you had politicians there. You had Senate, and they were cheering. It's like, you got played, man. You got played. The system has always been the system. Bitcoin was created in 2009, right after the biggest financial collapse. We don't know who Satoshi is, but BlackRock is the largest holder in Bitcoin. I mean, we got to use logic, guys. Like really think about that. They don't know who Satoshi is, or you can't beat it, control it. So they took over the supply. It's one of the two. So wake up, guys. You can argue back and forth on Twitter and go back and forth on X or whatever. You can argue back and forth. You're gonna get played. You're going to get played. The only way to beat it is to create your own Bitcoin and create your own system. Like, I'll give you an example. Um, as people complain about algorithms and YouTube, then create your own YouTube. Like this is YouTube's platform. They created it, right? I was complaining about corporate America, so I created my own companies. I'm unemployable. I have my own companies, my own ecosystems. We can talk about God and family. You can talk about politics. I created an ecosystem that's completely opposite. You can talk about God. You can talk about politics. You can have an opinion, right? My point behind this, guys, is don't get tribal. Don't get caught up in this bullshit. So the rest of this conversation is really important. I really hope you guys can hear this. See, I don't agree with that part. He's like saying it's all Paul, but Peter, they got debanked. They literally got debanked, right? So they're creating their own bank. This is where I disagree with him on this, but what Tucker says at the end of this is really important. What I mean, come on, Peter. Like, isn't that everybody pays off politicians? It's not like this is a new thing with the cryptocurrency industry. It's like, isn't that what they all do? Simple. He goes into his explanation. He does all, but it's that's the point. That's what I wanted you guys to hear. That's the point. It's like we could sit here and argue in this echo chamber over and over and over again. We could argue that it's Bitcoin. We can argue that it's gold, or you can build a system and you can understand you have two choices. Okay. You create your own system and you take over the monetary system, or you understand how the system actually works. They were clipping our coins in the Roman days. Okay. The first annuity was created in the Roman days. They had us drunk in the Colosseum. The Trojan horse came in. So, what's important is to understand how the cycles actually work. I don't care if you invest in XRP. I don't care if you invest in Bitcoin. I don't care if you're tribal around gold. What I care about is that you understand how to beat inflation and how the system works. What I care about is that you know that your labor, your hard work, when you trade time for money, you're getting paid in someone else's debt. They encourage you to put that debt in a bank. The bank dams it up and they make it currency. They actually make interest income, fee income, and capital markets income. As you get paid a fraction, that's why they're freaking panicked about crypto, blockchain, decentralization. That's why Elizabeth Warren is freaked out about WLFI and keeps going after Trump around it because it's a decentralized bank. I can be the bank. I can put $1 million on WFI when the whole platform is built, or a DeFi platform in general, and I could lend and participate. I can stake and participate. I can send you a stable coin peer to peer. Here's the thing: take out Bitcoin, take out gold, and understand what is actually happening. Peter Schiff can have his opinion. Robert Kiyosaki can, I can have my opinion. But what won't change is the fact that from a spiritual, physical, and financial, we are shifting. Okay. We are all sharing our opinion on how our soul is going to respond to this shift. But what won't change is the cycle. There's winter, there's spring, there's summer, there's fall, there's ups, there's downs. And the difference is how your soul responds this time. So, what we did is we created a system that can go through any economic cycle, DR. Cash flow. Cash is trash. You should always create cash flow. If you trade labor for income, which is debt, you should take your income and turn it into cash flow. That could be businesses, it could be dividend stocks, right? You have to make sure if you have 10 bucks, make sure it gets a brother or sister, richest man in Babylon. So when we create income and cash flow, we take our income and cash flow and we put it into assets. Okay, maybe you're not bullish on crypto. Fine. I don't care if you're bullish on crypto, but you should be bullish on not letting the purchasing power of your dollar erode. It's collapsed 96 to 97%. Okay, I just showed you the it up against gold and Bitcoin. Okay, so you can decide what A to put into A. Okay, I put it into things like XRP, Bitcoin, WLFI, Solana. Those are my top four. Okay. Stocks, ABTC, American Bitcoin, XXI. That's my zone of competency. On the C side, I have active businesses. I have three that are in cash flow. That's active income. Okay. Then I have dividend stocks that are passive income. Okay. All that goes into those assets right there. And it's disciplined every single Monday. Boom. I feed the buckets. Okay. Then that's okay, appreciation is offensive, okay? They've taught you in the indoctrination system to trade labor for income that is debt, to get debt that buries you and takes away, you give away future labor. So when you get a $60,000 loan and you make $60,000 a year, you literally gave away future labor that you haven't done yet. You're trapped, you're in the system, okay? We don't leverage until we develop protection. So when so you're taught to get a 401k and you're taught to sit in the stock market. This is what your retirement looks like. That's offensive. Okay. The smart money, when it goes up, they pull out of offensive and they defense it. Okay. Why do you think Bitcoin and gold, or excuse me, silver and gold are an all-time high right now? Guys, they're playing defense. That's going to start to probably bleed into Bitcoin, then into Ethereum altcoins. You'll probably see a run in cryptocurrency. Okay, it just see how it cycles back and forth. So P is protection. When you have an offensive strategy and it goes up, get some off the table and protect it. I use insurance, silver, copper, Bitcoin is my gold, and Berkshire. Okay, my insurance becomes L, leverage. It's a family bank. So now I'm richest man in Babylon and over here. I take my income, I richest man in Babylon, I create a brother or sister. Then I take the profits and then I put it into insurance. And then I richest man in Babylon that again. So that $1, okay, became two. The two becomes three. The three becomes four. So now the markets collapse. I borrow OPM from the insurance company at low leverage, low margin, with no liquidation risk. And then I go back in and I buy fear. And DR, de-risk, de-risk, de-risk. Nobody's coming to save you guys. So if you locked in and you got a plan, not the next best crypto, a plan financially, a plan physically, and a plan spiritually, you got your blinders on, man. It's God, family, and protection of your ecosystem at all costs. That's what they don't want you to do. The system doesn't want you to know what I'm teaching you. That's the truth. If everybody, what the point is, I mean, not everybody's going to do this. You know why? Because it's not a price prediction. It's not hope. It's not going to get you rich quick. It's not going to get you the Lambo. It's not going to get you the Ferrari. You don't want that. You want cash flow. You want assets that beat inflation. You want freedom. You want freedom of time, freedom of choice. And guess what that takes? Discipline. It takes consistency. It takes hard work. And it takes understanding that it's possible for you. It's not impossible. Take the word impossible, split it apart. It's I impossible. I wish I could sell you a get rich quick. I wish I could sell you the next best crypto. I wish I could tell you that XRP is going to a certain price at a certain that's not how it's done. Think about Ray Dalio, Charlie Munger, Kathy Woods, Robert Kiyosaki, Warren Buffett. They're not sitting there waiting for a price prediction. They're strategically moving through the system. Warren Buffett pulled into a bunch of cash in 2025. Then all of a sudden he emerges and he goes into Alphabet and Google, buy good companies at a fair price. And then he goes into the yen, reverse carry trade. He's not sitting there watching my channel and other people's channel like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen. No. So you dial in, guys. Use their skills. Use their skills. Use their skills. All you got to do is if you got someone's like, oh, do I have to have a bunch of money to do this? No, you got to, if you have $10, you can multiply it. If you have $1, you can multiply it. You find a quarter on the ground, you can multiply it. It's about systems. It's about process. So I shared with you what I like to do. Share with me what your plan is. What are your favorite assets? What do you like to do? But every time, like for example, I'm very disciplined. I got my little book here. It's not that difficult. I got my little book here, right? I feed the book. Let me show you guys. This is what it looks like here. Let's see if this will pop up. Show this instead. Boom. Okay. So I focus on cash flow, appreciation, protection, leverage. This is 30,000 foot overview. Okay. And then boom, I feed my financial ecosystem daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, leverage. Boom. It's discipline. That's what discipleship is. It's discipline. Okay. It works, guys. I'm telling you. That's how you create freedom. Freedom of time, freedom of choice. You feed the ecosystem. You touch grass. You get back to family. You stop waiting for price predictions. You stop waiting for hype. And you develop discipline, consistency, and patience. And I promise you, there'll be a moment where your life changes. But you better be ready for that. My CFO says it the best. If you make $30,000 a year and you're sloppy, guess when you make $1 million, you're going to be a wreck. So dial in because your moment will come, but you got to be ready for that moment. And like I said, after February 20th, the whole energetic frequency changes, guys. You don't have to do anything. It's all going to come to light. So I love you guys. I really, really do. If you'd like to learn our Capital DR system, we actually coach the Capital DR system. Description of my video down below. I'd love to have you part of our ecosystem. We actually walk you through this step by step. It's not an investment. It's an education platform. We take you step by step. Badass community, like-minded individuals, live calls, community. You can ask questions. You get tons of support. That's in the description of my video down below, or click my social media platform. Get in the game. Get on our Capital DR system, and let's rise together. Warriors, rise! Get your shit together. Let's go.